Hello, Internet. So yeah, I'm starting a new video series called what I read this week, and I'm just gonna go down the books I read that came out on Wednesday, and give my opinions on like what I thought of it and a synopsis of what happened. Try to keep it spoiler free. I used to do a video like this before, but it was more detailed with screen captures and stuff. I won't be doing that. I will be like I'll take like one panel maybe, like I'll take the cover and like maybe like a panel that I really enjoyed or I thought it was really cool, or just something to like highlight a panel from that issue and not just be like panel to panel review of what happened and so forth and so on. So the first comic I read this week was Mass Effect Foundation number 5, and this is published by Dark Horse Comics. So in this issue, we get a bit of Rasa and Kai Lang in the beginning because they're talking to the Elusive Man. Well, it's mostly Rasa talking to the Elusive Man, and it's a month after the attack on the Citadel, Sovereign's attack from Mass Effect 1. And so you have the Alliance is basically denying the disappearance of the Normandy, because that basically just happened at this point where we get to. And the Normandy's disappeared, Shepard's presumed missing. But then you have like all the Cerberus people that like really know what's going on, and they're like, Shepard's dead, and we gotta recover his body. And then it's cool because you go into the bar, and there's Jacob there, and he's still in the Alliance. And then, so you have like right before that happens, you have Miranda and Kai Lang, Rasa and Kai Lang, and they're like, oh well, someone's been assigned to go recover Shepard's body. I wonder who the Elusive Man put on this job. And so you like get to the bar in the Citadel, and it's you see Jacob sitting there and drinking himself away, and then like Miranda's the one that's there to recruit him, so that's pretty cool. So it's like Jacob and Miranda, back again, and they even like mentioned that they've had like adventures before, so I'm wondering if like we'll ever see any of that. So this is the part where basically Miranda recruits Jacob to join Cerberus, and he joins her. And so they go to look for Shepard's remains in the Terminus systems. They don't say what planet they land on, but it was pretty cool because, it's basically, it just has that Terminus feel of a planet that's in the Terminus systems. It's very Mos Eisley, like a shipping or like a port planet that has like, bars and like all these shops and like really shady individuals. Cause there's so many Batarians, and it's like, oh man, they're like, they could get in like, get in a pickle and stuff's going to go down, and that's what happened. They're trying to like cut some deals of getting information on where Shepard's at, and then things go south, and so they basically go into a trap, and then stuff goes down, and yeah, it's pretty cool though, because like after they get out of the sticky situation, they have to like sneak through the markets and stuff, so they like grab some cloth and some veils, so they're like sneaking through with like wearing disguises. That was pretty cool. And then okay, I kind of like forgot something, but it's cool because like at the beginning, like Rosa's wearing a outfit that's very similar to Miranda, and then like when you see Miranda, she like when she meets Jacob, she has like her Mass Effect 2 outfit on, but then when they get to the planet, she has like the black version of it. So that was interesting that they like changed the color palette of what she was wearing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like they get to the planet, and then like they try to get some information on Shepard. There's a trap. Stuff goes down, and then it's like, to be continued, but it's like, if you play the games, that, like, the character that is in, what's that word? In peril won't be fine in the next issue, because they're not going to die here, so it's like, everything's cool. But yeah, like, that's the first book I read this week, and I'll be coming back with, I guess I'll read Inhumanity next, because yeah, I'm really interested to see what Marvel does with Inhumans. Oh, I'll also, like, I did this before, but basically I would just, like, read an issue and then record my reactions and then read the next one and record it. So I'm just going to do it that style and not just try to, read them all and then record it, because I don't want to forget what I just read. And then while I'm, like, recording, be like, oh, man, I completely forgot. So, yeah. But that's what I thought about Mass Effect Foundations. I'm enjoying this. Like, I said in a previous video, like in 7-Day, I'd be doing like multiple issue synopses or whatever, but I think I'm just going to do the first two, because those take a while to do, and it made me remember why I don't do those anymore. So, and I think doing this is like, I'd rather do this of, just recording my thoughts of what I read, and then like putting them up, and like, being able to like to talk to people about, or discuss people through the comments of like what they thought about it. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it. Like the first issue was you're introduced to the character Rasa. Second issue was the second issue was Rex, I think. Yeah, the third issue was Ashley, and you get to like see what happens on Eden Prime before you land in Mass Effect 1. The fourth issue was Kaiden and like the that Brain Chem. It's called something else. I think it's Ascension, the Alliance's program for biotic kids that was helped being ran by the Turians. And like you have that whole episode where he talked about it on Mass Effect 1, where like that girl he liked was was being like abused or whatever by the instructor, and he had to like step in and do something. So that was pretty cool. And this one, it's cool because like it's not really anything like the previous issues have mostly been like either tied into the game somehow or something that was referenced, and this one was like pretty cool. Well, this one in issue number 1, I like the two that are not, they're just basically like new material. So that's why I really enjoy this one, because it's like, you never heard Shepard, you never heard like Miranda or Jacob talk about their like previous adventures with each other. So it's like you get to see the two Cerberus agents that you meet in Mass Effect 2 have like a Cerberus adventure, and like it's also the part where Jacob joins Cerberus and he's like F the Alliance because they're not doing anything. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Mass Effect Foundations number 5. I'm still enjoying it, and I will come back after this with my thoughts on what I thought of Inhumanity number 1 after this. Okay, so I just read Inhumanity number 1. It was okay. There was a lot of stuff that was recapped that was already covered in Infinity, if you read that, which I did. So not a lot of new stuff happened really, and it was a lot of just like recapping of stuff that happened, or just events from the past that are kind of important with the whole Terrigenesis thing. So you had it starts off and it just like shows like the fall of Adelan when it got blown up in Infinity, and that's to me like why I wanted to check out the Inhumans, is like I wanted to see what would happen if there was like no Adelan and they didn't have a homeworld, and like how they were gonna like do that, and like because in Infinity they all like went to these teleport things and like pop up, like we don't know where they popped up, and then also there's like global Terrigenesis, so there's a ton of more new Inhumans, but those issues don't really get covered. Like the where people ended up kind of gets talked about, but the whole global Terrigenesis, it's interesting to see, because it's like there's a bunch of new Inhumans, and they're all still in the cocoon phase where they're like just in the cocoon, and it talks about like a bunch of the Terrigenesis of like how that works, because you have Karnak, and he's like telling them about the Inhumans and their history and how stuff works and their ancient history, and like how they separated from the or basically like back in the day, like way back in the day, like friggin' prehistoric times of like Neanderthal humans. They were some of them were abducted by the Kree and then experimented on, and then the Kree basically put some DNA or some of their genetic material into them, and then put them back on the Earth, and then they like were evolving, and then they evolved into the Inhumans, and then they basically evolved at a rapid pace compared to the humans that were already there, or Neanderthals, whatever. And so, then also like while Karnak is telling them this, basically you start off and like he's like kind of lost his mind, and the Avengers have to like come in and like get him before he like harms anybody, and like they take him to Avengers Tower, and he just like tells this whole story of like what like stuff going down, and like what do you think is going on. And so he's talking about the Kree and how they experiment on the humans, or the ancient humans, I don't want to say Cro-Magnons, but the Neanderthals, those things. So experiment on them, and then they put them back on Earth, and then they like evolve at a rapid pace, and there's like they basically are like a separate species from the Homo sapiens. They're like or Inhuman, what are they called? In Homo Supreme, yeah. And so they have this lost city, which I think it's not oh wait, no, it's not the lost city. I think it's like the first Adelan, because it has a bunch of Inhumans, and like it talks about Terrigenesis and how they were using that to basically, or there was one dude particularly, Randak, and he was all, I'm gonna experiment on this stuff so we can reach our full potential. But then there was like a division between the Inhumans of some of them were like, well, we shouldn't be doing this because that's why the Kree made us, and by doing this, we're basically, acting as they would want us to do if they were here, and like under their control, but they're not even here. And so there's like a sect or a schism that formed, and you had the pro-evolution people that were like for Terrigenesis stay, and the people that didn't want to have Terrigenesis like leave. So you had the exiles, I guess, of the Inhumans, and so those are the people that run across Thanos. In I'm not sure actually. It doesn't explicitly say, and I'm kind of confused. So it's like I'm pretty sure it's the exiles that ran into Thanos, and not the Attilan Inhumans that were like the first Attilan people, because it was like still Randak and all the royalty and like within the kingdom, whatever. It's confusing, kind of. So you have the exiles, and then you have the story about like Karnak telling how Thanos was beating down the door during Infinity to like blow up this, or not blow up the city, but like to kill everybody because he wanted the tribute. And so you have the story where he tells about like how his best friend's son went into Terrigenesis too early, and like he turns into this creature because that's what happened when you go through Terrigenesis. It transforms you into your Inhuman form, which is whatever your like I guess it just like your however you are, or like as you are as like a person, or like whatever your genes are. It just takes it to like the most complete extreme like of that. But then his best friend's son like went into Terrigenesis, but he wasn't old enough and like not ready enough, so it kind of had a abnormal effect on him. So he didn't really have a proper like Inhuman form, but whatever. Well, nothing bad happens. He just comes out like as like a kind of buffalo head metal arm creature. It's like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. But he can still talk like a normal human. Just yeah. Anyway, so yeah, like, and then she was like Thanos, and then Karnak and Medusa are there trying to put together why this happened, how this happened, and then they're talking to like, it's weird because like you have Hawkeye talking to him, Karnak, and you're like, okay, so it's Hawkeye and Karnak talking, but then like the conversation continues, and they're talking about how all the Inhumans that were in the Attilan at the time of the Thanos arriving jumped into the teleporter. It was called what was it called? There's a name for it. Eldrak. Like, it's an Inhuman teleporter, and it takes you to wherever you're supposed to be. And then so Medusa jumps in, but then she lands in some building that's like really close to Attilan, and then she actually she witnesses it explode. So that happened. And so you have Karnak, and then Hawkeye and Medusa, and then like Tony Stark's there all of a sudden talking to him too. So it's like, okay, you don't know who's in the room. Like, it's weird because you think you know who's in the room, and then all of a sudden it has like, as Karnak is going on and on about his theory of like who destroyed Attilan and like how it blew up, you have like a panel of the Illuminati there, who are the new Avengers, which is Beast, Namor, Reed Richards, Black Panther, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt. Black Bolt's not there, but he's on the Illuminati. And then so they're there. So it's like, okay, so they're in on the conversation. Of course, you like, that makes sense. And so he's still going on about his whole theory about like what's going down, what happened. And so he's like, well, clearly this was some secret between Black Bolt and Maximus, because Black Bolt had all the secrets, so he knew that there were hidden Inhumans in the world to like activate them, but only Maximus could make a device so crazy as to like give it a global distribution system, which is what happened in Infinity. You had global Terrigenesis, because as they're talking, and like Beast like interjects, he's like, well, but we know the Terrigen mist is poisonous to humans, and it's not like that wouldn't work that way. And then Karnak's like, well, that wasn't Terrigen mist, and that wasn't Inhumans that it was used on. It was the dormant Inhumans within human DNA, and then Maximus with his crazy device. And so it talks about the And then that's the part where it talks about like the split between the Inhumans, how you have the ones that stayed in Adelan and the ones that exiled themselves to just be nomads and then travel the world, and they found their secret city that you find in or that you see in the Infinity, like how there was like that hidden city of Inhumans that settled there. But then it also talks about like even in the hidden city. Oh, it has a name. Too bad I don't remember what it was. But that like where Thane was at. So that place, like even that place had like a split of Inhumans that left, and so they left. And since it was such a long time ago, and like Neanderthalic times, they were able to like go and spread throughout the land and settle amongst the humans. And so over time, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or I guess not hundreds of thousands, but like thousands of years, like the time of the Inhumans being mixed in with the human population, their DNA has spread throughout, the globe. So it's like that's how so many hidden Inhumans with their DNA that was not unlocked because they couldn't go through the Terrigen mist, how they came to be. Whew, yeah. Let me take a break. Okay, take a breath. Okay. So then Karnak's still talking about how, like, why did Black Bolt do that? So basically, because he wanted tribute, so he wanted the head of all the Inhuman children. What Black Bolt did, he basically, activated all the Inhumans to completely mess up Thanos' plan, because if they killed, or like even by killing all the Inhuman children, if he was able to, he wouldn't have killed all the Inhumans and like therefore made them extinct, because all the Inhumans that he would have just activated would have been new Inhumans. So it's like he made a play to basically save his people, which is why he did what he did and destroyed Adelan. And then you have like this whole flashback of Thanos finding the spacefaring. Oh man, okay, like you have all these different Inhumans, dude. It's crazy. But like, so the Inhumans that left the secret city, those people that eventually were space worthy and like, or like use their, I guess when they left, they like use their spacefaring vehicles, space technology to get into space. And so Thanos, attacked the vehicle, or attacked their spaceship, and then I guess apparently was made a child with one of the ladies. But then she escaped and left, and it like has a flashback of that. So that was pretty cool. And then it shows like Black Bolt or not Black Bolt, but all the cocoons and stuff of like in the wake of the global terrigenesis of like it just is causing this like huge, I think Beast calls it what's he say? A humanitarian health crisis on a scale not seen since the Spanish influenza pandemic. And there's just like a CDC crew. Well, it's not CDC, but it's like dudes in like the biohazard outfits. They're like not trying to get contaminated, and they're like trying to clean up a scene with like all these cocoons and stuff. But that's happening. And then then also Karnak has like, he can like, I guess, see into the future or something. Is like some sort of psychic ability, and he starts like drawing on this wall. But then it's like in the cell that they're like holding him in because he's like, too dangerous or whatever, and they don't want him to like do anything crazy. Then all of a sudden, like Black Panther's like, does it concern anyone that he's drawing on what does it say? Unbreakable Wakandan crystal with his fingernail. And then Tony Stark's just like, dude, let him talk. We got this. He's not gonna be able to get out of here. This is a Hulk proof. I think they called it like a Hulk proof room or something. But yeah. And so he's doing that, and then he has like this premonition, like this. Well, it's really really cool what they do, because like he has like this vision, and like they show a panel of like what he sees, but he doesn't tell anybody else what he sees. And then so you have, I think that's Thane on the left, and then you have Ronan, what are those dudes called? The accusers? Like that guy. And then like the Supreme Intelligence. And then on like the far upper right, there's like some cocoon thing, and like you have this king guy under the Supreme Intelligence on the bottom right. I don't know who that is. It's probably some like Inhuman king. And he's like, I see what's coming. Like we're all gonna. Or it's like, okay, the things that are coming, the fatal fault line running through Inhuman destiny. I see it, my queen, 'cause he's talking to like Medusa, and he gets all crazy, like, oh no, we're all gonna die, blah blah blah. At the end, no more Inhumans, we're gonna go extinct. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then yeah, just it has like this inner monologue of Medusa and how she's so, and now she's all tripping. She's all like, "Oh man, I don't know what to do because I don't know where Black Bolt's at. Like, what's gonna happen? How am I gonna handle this?" And then I didn't even know that this was gonna be some sort of like event thing. I thought like Inhumanity was gonna be like a series, but nah. So at the end, there's like a checklist, and I'm like, "Oh, great, another another event after Infinity." It's like, oh, but I'll go ahead and keep up with it because let's see. You have Inhumanity: The Awakening, Mighty Avengers, which I'm already reading, New Avengers I'm reading, Uncanny X-Men I'm reading, and then the only three I'm not reading are Indestructible Hulk, Avengers Assemble, and Avengers AI. So I'll go ahead and I don't know if I'll read them. I'll see if like they're. I guess it is essential since it is like an event. I didn't even know it was an event. I thought I guess Inhumanity: The Awakening #1 was the one I wanted to like get into. I thought it was an ongoing series, but I guess this is like an event to introduce the Inhumans into the Marvel Universe after Infinity and like the global Terrigenesis. So I want to see how this pans out. However, this issue is like it was a lot of retread of like stuff that happened in Infinity of like the global Terrigenesis and like talking about the ancient kings, which they kind of already talked about, and like the hidden city. They talked about how that was like a hidden group of Inhumans, but I guess it went into more detail, so it was cool to like flesh that out. So I guess it was a pretty good issue. I enjoyed it. Even it was just like all the stuff that had already happened, like seeing that again, like they had the Black Bolt and Thanos thing. I was like, okay, that already happened, or the in Adelan blowing up. It's like, okay, I've already read that in Infinity. So, but I did enjoy it. So. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Inhumanity #1. I think there's only like a couple more comics I've read this week. I'll read. Yeah, I think I'll just read Guardians of the Galaxy. I also picked up Cataclysm: The Ultimate's Last Stand, but I'm not gonna bother with any of the Ultimate Universe stuff since it's going to end. So I'm not gonna bother talking about it. But I'll go ahead and read Guardians of the Galaxy, and that'll be it for this week's comic book talk about what I've been reading. After this. Okay, so I just read Guardians of the Galaxy. Which one is this? #9. And it was okay. It basically is just a continuation of the last issue, which was, I think it was the first Infinity tie-in for the series. And they went to Peak Station, which is like the sword, like orbital station above Earth to like, keep out the bad dudes and stuff. To try and help, the Avengers, like the blah blah blah, the Avengers break the blockade of Thanos' ships to get to Earth. And it's basically just a continuation of that. So at the end of the last issue, Angela came in to like help Starbrand, Rocket Raccoon, Abigail Brand, because they were like holed up on the ship, but they'd been outnumbered by some of Thanos' space pirates on the station. And so it was like, okay, Angela's gonna come in and save them, to be continued. And that's basically what happens is you have Gamora. I don't remember why she's in space, but she's out in space. I guess she got like Ingrid, Star-Lord, and left. And then she comes back, and then you have just like a bunch of battles going off like at the same time. You have, Angela coming in to save Star-Lord, Abigail Brand, and Rocket Raccoon. And so that happens, and they're able to get control of the ship, and or not the ship, but get into the part of the station where they can control the shields that are like not letting any ships to get to Earth. And so they do that, and then they're able to like make a hole for the Quinjet that has Carol Danvers. I think what was the Earth team that went on Infinity? I think it was like Carol Danvers, Bruce Banner, Captain America, Thor, and Hyperion. I think those were like the 5 that made it to the surface to fight Thanos in Infinity #6. So that's pretty much what happens, and then like at the beginning you have like an internal monologue with Gamora where she's like, "Oh, curse you, Peter Quill, for not killing my father. I'm not sure if you're lying to me or not. I'm not sure if I trust you, but whatever." We still don't know like what went down with Thanos and Star-Lord in the Cancerverse, because like they brought that up last issue, but they didn't really like say like conclusively like what happened. So we'll see if they ever do. But that was pretty much it. Just a bunch of space battles, fighting, shooting stuff up. Wham bam, kapow. Oh, actually, they blow up the Peak Station. So yeah, that's interesting because they just self-destruct it and blow up not all the, but a bunch of pirate ships that are in the vicinity. And so they do that. Oh, also when they're in Abigail Brand's little quarters to like let the shields down, Gamora bells them out because I guess Angela. Oh, that's right. Because like when Angela came in, she like fought all these dudes, and then they like shot her out of the ship. So she's like outside fighting them, and so like Peter Quill, Rocket Raccoon, and Abigail Brand went back to the thing to deactivate the shield, and so they got outnumbered again, and they're like got cornered in that room. But then Gamora bells them out with like a rocket launcher or something, and she's like boom, and then a bunch of space pirates. She just takes them all out, and then they get off the ship. And it's like 12 seconds to self-destruct, and they get back onto the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, and it's like, all right, day is saved, and the pirates are, or Thanos' blockade is pretty much being blowed up in the last panel as the peak station self-destructs, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, it's an okay issue. I thought it was like an Infinity tie, and I wasn't sure like what it was going to be since Infinity is over, and so. And it says to be concluded in Infinity number 6, when I already know what happens there. And then the next issue is the hunt for Thanos. But it's like, if you've read Infinity number 6, it's like, okay, how do they hunt Thanos if you know what happens? So I'm interested to see what happens then. So, But yeah, the last 2 issues have been like, I'm guessing by another artist because the art style is different. So it looks like the next issue will be back in the art style that we've had from the beginning. So I'm looking forward to that. I didn't enjoy it, but just prefer it better or prefer it more than what we currently have. But that was pretty much it for Guardians of the Galaxy and all the issues of stuff I've read this week. Well, except for Ultimate's Last Stand, but I'm not gonna do anything on that in this video. And then also in Inhumanity, I forgot to say that it seems like the characters that are the Inhumans that it seems like they're in the thought, or they're thinking that Black Bolt has been killed or whatever in the explosion. So I'm interested to see like how that will affect things too, or like the aftermath of when everybody finds out like what the truth is and everything. So yeah, I guess I would say not Infinity, but Inhumanity was the book I enjoyed the most this week out of all the ones I did in this video. Did I only do 2? No, I did Inhumanity, Infinity. Huh. That's weird. I thought there was something else I read. I guess not. Alright then, well that's it for this video. And I'll be coming back with more of these every Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, favorite, or not, whatever. No big deal. Oh, Mass Effect Foundation, that was the other book. But yeah. That's it for this video. And I will, until you see or hear from me again, I'm now signing off. Thanks for watching and listening.